All right, so welcome to today's webinar. My name is Craig Hanna. I'm the product manager for Site Studio working at Acquia. Today's session is very hands-on, very practical, so thank you for joining us. And in a little while, we're going to be breaking out into groups and using Site Studio, which I think hopefully you saw from the invite, that was what today was going to be about. But before we do that, there's going to be a little introduction from the teams and then a quick introduction to the product and how it works, a kind of instruction, if you like, a 5-minute piece of training with myself, just so that you guys can get started. And then it's going to be a little bit of a practical exercise in a breakout room, which we will organize for you. Hopefully a bit of fun. You know, using the product, Site Studio is a great product to use, very easy to learn, but at the same time, learning it in 5 minutes and then building something in 30 minutes is you know, going to be challenging for anybody just knowing where the buttons are. So we'll have some fun with it, hopefully. And we'll come back to you. So I don't know if, you know, so I've been made an introduction myself. If the Bounteous team, as Scott, if I hand over to you first, if you'd like to say a little introduction and a little bit about Bounteous.
Sure. We are Bounteous. We are a digital agency that focuses on guiding organizations through digital transformation. We are an Acquia partner. We were the Acquia Partner of the Year for the Americas in 2019. And we work really closely with the Acquia team on products that they offer and you know, the Acquia Cloud Platform, as well as the Marketing Cloud products. With us today, you have me, Scott Weston. I'm the Senior Director of Drupal Delivery at Bounteous. What I do is along with building sites, I make sure that we deliver them successfully to our clients. Also with us today is Stephanie Copeland, and she's the Partner Marketing Specialist focusing on Drupal and Acquia. She works really closely with our friends at Acquia to bring you events like we have here today. We also have Wade Stewart, who is one of our senior front-end developers. He is our top subject matter expert on Acquia Site Studio. So if you get him in your breakout room, that's a good thing. He actually built the site that we're going to be showing you in just a few minutes, our coinnovation.com site. We also have Michael Gerges, also a senior front-end developer with us. He and Wade have actually been working a lot with Site Studio and delivered a number of projects for our clients using Site Studio. One that actually went live yesterday, as a matter of fact. We also have Chris Greetons. He's our Vice President of Drupal Engineering. He leads the overall Drupal practice at Bounteous. So he's here to watch us and to you know, contribute where he can, and just make sure that everything goes well.
Great, thank you. So I think to get us started, I think Scott, you were going to show an example of a Site Studio site you guys have been built on before I drop into the training.
Sure thing. Let me show you my screen here. All right. So last year, our marketing department came to us in the Drupal practice and said, hey, we need a website and we need it in a few weeks, which is always a great thing to hear when an internal team or a client wants a site spun up in a week. And so this was about the same time that we really started diving into Acquia Site Studio. And so we took this as an opportunity to learn Site Studio and to build a site and deliver it in a really short amount of time. You know, along with Site Studio, there is the UI kit, which is a pre-built set of components that kind of ships with Site Studio. And so we leveraged those and actually use that as a design pattern. So our designers built the components, designed the components around those UI components, the UI kit components. And then once the design and the content was set, we set Wade off and said, go and build this site. And within, I would say, 2 or 3 person days, once the design was set, we had a fully functioning one-page site with dynamic components. These, you know, work well on desktop as well as mobile, and it also fits our Bounteous design aesthetic. So if we look at this site here, the coinnovation.com, the one-page site that we built with Site Studio, and compare it to our full Drupal site of Bounteous.com, we can tell that they're connected. And this gives our marketing team who operates both sites the ability to, particularly for coinnovation.com, iterate quickly on this, add new components, change up the messaging, and have those guardrails that keeps the site looking like a Bounteous website. And Craig's going to hop in and show kind of how we built it and give you the quick training, and then we'll go into the breakout rooms after that. So I'm going to hand it off to you, Craig.
Thanks, Scott. Perfect. All right. So so what I'm going to do now is I don't know from our guests today on the webinar who has had experience of and has seen Site Studio before. So I'll start maybe a little bit from the beginning. I mean, Site Studio is a end-to-end site builder, which enables you to build Drupal sites in low code. And when we mean end-to-end site builder, one of the outcomes of it is an amazing editing experience, an amazing page building experience. And that's the bit that we're going to focus on today. We're going to have you guys building pages. We have a brief for you, as I said, hopefully a bit of fun. But I think it is worth noting that with Site Studio, you are also going to be, you are also, or your agency partner is also using Site Studio to build things like your templates and your menus and styles, etc., depending on their architectural approach to your site build. So it's an end-to-end site builder. What we're going to do today, and I'll just share my screen. There we go. What we're going to do today is we're going to take this website, and I'll tell you how you can log in a moment. There's going to be a couple of teams, and we're going to build a website, or I say a website. We're going to build a landing page, should I say? We're going to build one page and have a little bit of fun compared to a brief. Hopefully, some of you are animal lovers in the audience today. Okay, so this is essentially a vanilla version in many ways of the site that Scott was showing you before. So no content, but the same or very similar components. When you log on to, and as I said, we'll show you that in a moment. When you log on to Site Studio, you'll have this, your Drupal CMS menu system up here. And what we will ask you to do is actually go into the content button here. But remembering, you don't have to worry about this too much. There will be someone helping you drive this bit, but there will be someone to help you here. And in here, you'll find some pages. And we've created 4 pages for the teams today. So you'll be assigned to one of these pages in a moment. So I'm just going to go into, you'll be asked to go into either Group A, Group B, or Group C. But I'm just going to go onto my page at the moment and just show you what we're going to do. Okay, so we have a brief for you, which again, I'm going to share the details in chat. And this brief basically will help you organize. Or the teams are quite small today, so it's going to kind of be all hands on deck. And then we have these 2 briefs for you down below to create a landing page. So the first one is dogs on the catwalk, which is going to be Group A, maybe B. And there's a little brief there for you about, make an interesting landing page, make it dynamic, boring is snoring, etc., etc. And likewise, and it's animal lovers, but it's also cats against dogs. We also have a cat brief here. In this case, hot dog cat clothing, a must-have for all cat owners out there. I'm personally a dog owner, so I'm more on the dogs on the catwalk, but these hot dogs do look cool, I must admit. So we'll send you the login details for there, and you're going to build this landing page, and I'll just post into chat now the access to this document, so anybody can anyone can access this document. So that should be in chat to everyone now, I hope. Okay, so if anyone has any problems with that, let me know. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my site here now, and we're going to go into content. And as I said, we're going to you choose your page to the team that you'll be assigned to in a moment. In this case, I'm going to go to Craig's page because I'm Craig. And then on the top left-hand side, there's actually a couple of different ways that you can actually build pages in Site Studio, what we call the front end page building experience, visual page builder, and the backend experience as well. And both very much drag and drop. One's just much more visual than the other. I'm going to start by showing the front end page builder, because that's probably where we're going to do most of our work today. But it is worth noting that the back end page, the back end capabilities as well, and remembering as well that I'm logged in here as administrator. So you're seeing a whole lot of other menus that you wouldn't normally see if you were just, for example, a marketer or a content editor. That you know, the number of menus you saw would be bespoke to you. And likewise, it's worth remembering, and I'll remind you as we show you some of the components. It's worth remembering that the editing experience I'm going to show you today can really be made bespoke for you. You know, what fields you fill in, what options are available on images, etc. But I'm going to go into Page Builder, and what you see here is what we call our layout canvas. This blank area here. And if I click on the plus button, what happens is you get the components that Scott was referring to a minute ago. Now, what I've done today, because we only have 5 more minutes or so for the training, is I've organized our components that come out of the box normally, and with our UI kit, I've organized them into this section at the top saying webinar components. And that's because if I try and show you all the components that come out of the box right now, our full hour and more will be taken, because we've built a whole lot of stuff that, you know, that our customers can just use, right? So they don't have to necessarily start from scratch, and then they adapt them. They normally need, you know, personalized for your particular use case, but it gives you the building blocks to get started. If you like to think of them as unopinionated kind of design, so they don't have your brand in them, they don't have your editing experience, but they do have a starting point. So these are these ones in the orange section here. You'll notice if I go down here, there's loads more. Please, you know, by all means, if you have time, you know, you're more than welcome to look at them. Some of them have got previews built, but some of them don't. But you can see there's a lot more down here. It keeps going. You can see there's lots more. But we're just going to focus on these orange ones at the top, most of which have got previews, so you can see what they look like, right? So if I roll over this webinar hero, you can see what the webinar hero would look like if I dragged it on the page. In fact, I will do that right now, because it's, you know, it's possibly, you know, webinar hero is the hero. So I'm gonna drag it and drop the page. I literally drag it and drop it into my layout canvas there, and suddenly I've got this first component. You'll see here that I can then also edit this component. So if I click on this button here, I then have the editing experience. As I said, this editing experience is created by your agency partner, by your site builders, to be whatever the editing experience you want it to be. So it can be as simple as, you know, restricted to WYSIWYGs. It can be very complex. We've tried to build some components today that show you a variety, so you get a feel for it, and also that, you know, give you a chance to play with it properly. So here you can see I've just got the heading, which is in the background there. There is some text if I wanted to have it here. And then please do look out for, on some components, these layout tabs. And so here I've got layout and style. And so this gives me extra editing capabilities here. And sometimes there's 2, sometimes there can be 3. And so I can built into this by the site building team are some predefined choices for your editor. As I said, these are can be made entirely bespoke to you. These are the ones that come out of the box, but they can be made bespoke to you. So for example, you know, I can make the layout shorter. Obviously I can select an image here. I have a couple of images that I preloaded. We'll come back to the imaging in a minute. And I've got other things I can do, like the background color and text color, etc. But if I just apply that, not give away too much, you'll see that the component changes slightly. I've got this lovely French sunset in the background of my hero component now. You'll notice here as well, there's a drop zone. So it works very much atomically on some components if you choose to. So you can have components inside components. If you leave it blank, it has hide as no data. So it won't render like that. Once I save it, it'll disappear if you like. The image will just be there. But if I wanted to put something else in there, I could. And likewise, I can do as many complex layouts as I want. So for example, I could take a 2-column layout here and drop that on the page. And you can see now I've got 2 columns. And then I can put some cards, you know, that I've made available to you guys into those. I'll do those 2. And as you can see very quickly, they're made on the page. And again, if I go up to my settings here, I've got the ability to edit the components, so I can you know, change stuff. So I've, you know, they seem quite big and bold compared to my pictures, so I could, you know, I could turn them to the size of the browser. I can alter my column widths, and again, you know, this particular component's got quite a lot of settings, but you don't necessarily need to. So they can be a lot more reduced if you choose to. So I will just move that slightly smaller, and then just see if there's anything else. Now that'll do for now. Just makes that slightly smaller. You probably didn't see it as it rendered, but it made it slightly smaller there. Okay, so you can play with these components. There are some interactive ones that we've already built, things like the gallery slider, where if you can add images to. Again, we're going to be there to support you guys. And then the other thing that I wanted to push out to you and show you was what we call helpers. So helpers are pre-configured sets of components, if you like, or and so that they allow you to build even quicker, because we all have design patterns that we use time and time out again, and these helpers can be as small as just making it easy to build a card like this without having to and without having to be an actual card. So I'll show you that in a minute. So these are all individual pieces to full landing pages. So for example, if you've done some UX testing with your agency and you'd had a landing page that they put through testing, and when you converted really high, you might want to save that as a helper, because then you could just have your editors drop it on the page and there it is, tested, optimized, done well. So on this menu up at the top here, you'll see that there is the helper menu. So we've got components, and then there's helpers. And if I choose helpers, there's a small selection of helpers here. Again, you can have as many helpers as you want. I've deliberately done a smallish list. We see customers with landing page A, B, C, D, and lots of other stuff. But if it's the same way of working. If I drag these on, this is another way of doing hero. It's just that it's pre-built for you. But let me just take something more a little more interesting. Actually, I'll have a play with this one. So if I drop this one on, you'll see that I get this helper, and again, it's got some settings in here. So you can see I've got an image here, and you can see instead of it being a component that was kind of one unit, if you like, which you can edit the content in, these are now all individual components. So that gives you this more atomic approach. So for example, I'm not sure why I would do this, but I can literally drag that pre-heading and put it below my heading there, for example. So it gives you a lot more atomic kind of flexibility. That then obviously rolls through, because they're a separate entity, that rolls through to things like personalization and other powerful tools once we set up here properly. So if I go into the editing experience for the big background, again, you'll see lots of things here, that choices I've got made. Again, I'm not going to worry with the spacing too much, but if I look at the background here, I could, for example, choose a different image, and apply that, and then what's happened to my image? I choose the wrong one. Oh, I think it's just late. It must be a bigger file than I wanted it to be. So I think that's going to come in a minute. And then, for example, if I hear each of these components is then editable, as is the one around it. So if I want to click on here, this gives me access to this particular one. You'll see I've got a dark background. I'm just going to select I don't know why you would never do this. You can tell I'm not a designer, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to select that. And likewise, I'm just going to apply this. You can see there's lots of different settings there. And you can see I've suddenly got a bright pink. Now, you wouldn't do that, obviously. It looks terrible. Its contrast is all out, but I just wanted to show you something dynamic. So each of these components then individually, because they are more atomic, each of these has their own settings. Some of them will be quite simple, like, for example, just a text box and then just some spacing so that you can adjust it should you want to in the box that's there. So hopefully this is an idea. There's a few others here. You'll get to explore them yourself. But again, I'm going to stop because I'm sure you guys get the idea. And you can do quite a lot with these in terms of moving them around, changing the colors, changing the backgrounds, and literally just have a look at them. Just remember that each one, if you come from the helpers, each of these are individual. Whereas if I go to the actual components up here, these are individual because I chose to column, but these are, all the settings for this is under one menu at the top, and that's just a different way of construction. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just a different way of constructing them. Okay, so I think that then is probably enough to get you guys started, right? And because we're going to have someone in the room with you, we're going to have about 30 minutes or so of actually building. As I said, the brief is here. You should have had that link in your chat. Please do put your hand up if not. I'm going to, I'm just going to exit page builder. Oh, I'll save that now. You can see my very rough page, my exit page builder. I'm now just going to, so that's actually how the page look. Oh, the image has come through now. It's obviously took a while. And you can see that I definitely need to stick to my product management day job and not try and become a designer, right? So, but that's okay. I sometimes do it for impact. I know that. All right. So now as I mentioned before, we'll just go into content and you'll choose. So when you find yourself in a group, just the breakout room will be named after your group. You go to content, but you'll find one.
Hola, ya dame un segundo, es que me metí, tenía 2 reuniones al mismo
tiempo. Okay. I don't know, that was someone coming in. Sorry about that. So the breakout room will be named after your group.